Hello music lovers, welcome to my channel. My name is Caeser Pink.
Put your mama down. Put your mama down. Put your mama down. Baby, please.
Today we're here with guest Ed Kenepp. He's a musician, a filmmaker, a songwriter, and he's gonna play a video for me that I haven't seen, Bowie's John, I'm Only Dancing. But before we get started, all the proceeds from this channel are donated to the Arete Living Arts Foundation. The mission of Arete Living Arts is to create art and promote artists whose work inspires personal, political, or spiritual awakening. So please like and subscribe if you will. That really helps us build our channel. And if you want to do more, join our Patreon, or you can make a donation through PayPal. It's all in the description below. So Ed, what made you want to watch this video in particular?
Well, not to make everything about me, which I always do. I always figure out a way to do that. But I saw this video, I just ran across it again recently. I think it was, 1972 when this video came out. And I stumbled on it, and I just loved the look of it so much that I just kept watching it over and over and over again. And finally I decided that I was going to kind of steal this for one of my music videos, just try to get the look of it. So let's just look at it first, and then we'll...
Let me say that I don't know this video, but I know a couple of the Mick Rock videos, the director, that was just made when he was in New York. Is it on the street?
No, it's all inside a studio.
Because he made a few of them that were just like footage on the street of like Angie, Bowie's wife, strutting around.
Right.
And it's just so homemade, but it looks so wonderful because the old 8mm film.
Yeah, yeah.
Or 16 maybe.
Mick Rock, yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. For those that don't
Even
know.
if he didn't.
Yeah.
Right?
And Mick Rock was a famous rock photographer who did all the great classic rock people back in...
Yeah, I think there's a documentary about him.
Huh. Here we go. John, I'm Only Dancing. Now, I know that dance footage. That is from...
I do know that dance footage.
What is that from? And maybe it's, do you know the story about his mime teacher?
Yeah, no.
Lindsay Kemp. And actually, Bowie and Kate Bush had the same mime teacher. But anyways, Lindsay Kemp taught him mime, and Bowie would perform with her.
I knew this.
Mime.
Yeah, I knew that part.
It may be that, or it may be... Even before that, he was part of some like multimedia dance group, and maybe it's from that, but I definitely know that.
Yeah, that dance. Yeah, and the thing that just struck me so deeply about this was that right there, that freaking dark.
Yeah.
Half shadow, backlight on the hair, that imagery to me is the 70s, It just took me straight back to my teenage years, which was kind of in the shadows, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right?
And that type of lighting is a little tricky. I mean, it's pretty easy to get the backlight, but to get that like subtle half thing, like that's a lighting trick.
Yeah, and when I stole this whole idea then, right, and tried to mimic. I even tried to put that little anchor on my cheek. That didn't turn out so well, but you'll see that. But what were we saying?
The back.
Oh yeah, I never do this. I always just stick a camera up and just shoot, right? And then I see what I got, and then I make something out of it. But I spent a day just playing with the lights, and until I got what I thought was close to that. And then the next day I came back in costume and shot the video, which is, big for me to spend 2 days on the video. You spend 2 days on talking about it. Those dancers are just so mysterious. I love that. It's like so non-animated. It's always so animated. But,
I wonder if the long-haired one might have been, what was his girlfriend's name, like Hermione or something?
Oh, Hermione.
And apparently she really broke his heart.
Yes.
And he made those 2 videos just before he died, and there were references to her.
Yeah.
Her town she was from.
And he wrote a song called To Her.
Yeah, something, from the, I don't know what the album's called, the
Hunky Dory?
Space Oddity.
Hunky Dory?
No, this Space Oddity.
Okay. I mean, there's really not much to it, you know?
Yeah.
Just a few elements, a few basic elements. And this was before MTV.
Yeah, a long time before.
I love the way he backs up like that. Rapper. See, that's just, for me, that's fucking rock and roll idolism, right?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Okay, so now let me show you my video.
Well, let's talk about this a little more.
Okay.
For one thing, when I see the dancing, and we were talking about this early, is that period was such an explosion of creativity and new ideas, and it was culture-wide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like anything could happen, anything could be done. It was really a magical moment.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, I was still in high school whenever this stuff, and I never saw that video in high school.
Where you see it, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you could even get a glimpse of your favorite stars performing, that was rare.
Yeah, I saw him on Dinah Shore show, right?
Yeah, that was a little later though. That was Iggy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was during the German period.
Yeah, I can't remember how much I saw. Well, I saw him live in Pittsburgh in 1974 or 75.
Was it the Diamond Dogs tour?
It was the Thin White Duke. The what's the name of the album?
Thin White Station. Yeah, and the tour was called Isolar 1 or 2 or something.
Was it? I don't remember that. I remember that. We drove there from Lewistown. It's a 3.5-hour drive in Tim McCartney's old, I think it was his old freaking Valiant, right? And I was driving because everybody was high, and we go through the tunnel, and the tunnel was brick.
Oh, I know that tunnel.
and it just felt like you were on ice. I just felt like maybe I was high, I don't know, but it just felt like we were on ice. And then we get to the show, I can't remember where it would have been.
Stanley Theater?
Bigger.
Oh. Well, the stadium wasn't there yet.
No, some kind of mosque.
Oh, like the Shriners
Yeah,
Mosque or something.
something like that. And as soon as we get there, we're standing, and before the show even starts, the guy standing behind us just vomits on the cement floor right behind us. And then we're just like kind of just sitting in the wake of that. But it was a great show nonetheless. Nonetheless, Barf didn't even bother us.
You know, almost all those tours except Diamond Dogs are on DVD, and
Really?
yeah, I definitely have that one. Well, no, that one, the only thing there is a full rehearsal, but it's a rehearsal to the point where it's like, let's stop and try that again, because it was like a weird band. Like the band members didn't quite look right. It was like half to the disco era.
Yeah, and the drummer had those bells.
Oh, I know what you're
that
talking
looked
about,
like
yeah.
trombone horns or something coming out of each tom.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought I was tripping,
yeah.
and it wasn't.
And that's supposed to be when Bowie was kind of out of it psychologically at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
You know who I've met and communicated with quite a few times was Tony Visconti,
Yeah,
you know, who produced a lot of
Yeah.
this stuff. He had his own little record label, and he got this girl on it, Christine Young, who I'm a huge fan of. And, you know, she duetted with Bowie. And
it's Christine with the K. I remember her. Yeah.
But anyways, if she plays in a city, and it's always just like clubs with like 30 people.
Yeah.
And he'll come to them, and I'm like, thank you for all the great music you gave us.
To get to meet Tony Visconti.
And his response to me was, well, I did it all for you.
Really?
But, you know, we talk online, too, about religion and politics, and, you know, just kind of a dude that's around.
That's very cool. And you also had, Mike Garson, didn't you?
Mike Garson and Reeve Gabrels, who played, both of the...
That's amazing.
Well, Reeves came in, he was living in Nashville, but he came up to do something, came into the studio, and was like the coolest, like, let me take another take. You know what I mean? But Mike, he was in California, so he did it long distance. So he sent it back, and I'm not... The solo's great, but he wasn't, you know, it just wasn't there, and I just say, could you do another take?
Oh, really? Wow, that took balls.
What are you going to do?
Wow.
But you know, and somehow I got this idea that he was like this grumpy dude.
Mm-hmm.
And just like maybe a year or two ago, he was doing something in his city, and before he went on stage, I went up and talked to him. Nicest guy ever.
Really?
Like, handed to me his phone, or not his phone, but his email, said, please send me the song. And so
Wow.
that was like a real thrill. Because I had this distinct memory of being 13 and listening to not the great solo on Aladdin Sane,
Right.
but Let's Spend the Night Together.
Yeah.
And thinking, this keyboard player is great.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 40, 50 years later, to have this guy on my work was
Yeah.
just, you know,
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I still view all these things like the kid in the trailer park. Like,
Mhm.
I can't believe, you know,
Yeah.
I don't get jaded. I don't get like, whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, to me, it's all with real.
Yeah.
I have this real regret. I really love the artist Laurie Anderson. Do you know her?
Yeah. Yes.
And so we're going to a Warhol exhibit in this museum. We're all in a elevator. And I can see her from behind. I'm like, looks like Laurie Anderson. So we get out, I say, you know, between the door being open, I shake her hand and say, I just want you to know, like, you've been such a big influence on me or something. And then we end up, like, in a group going through the exhibit together. And it was, like, early, kind of in the morning. And I so wanted to get a picture with her. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to ask this older lady to take a picture. But then she goes out a little earlier, we finish, and then we go out. She's like by herself waiting by the elevators, and she looks to me and smiles, and I know now she wanted to talk, but I was still in this introverted, like,
Yeah.
say hi, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for that picture, and I so regret that because.
Yeah.
And I went to like a few things where it was like small rooms with her, Q&As, or Heather and I went to a thing where it was like her and these like Native American musicians, but my foot was on the stage and she was this, like this close to us, and but anyways.
I know that's there's nothing like that, and it should tell you that you can go up to these people
Yeah.
and tell them what they mean, because I'm sure they get it way too much, but they can always just say thank you and
Yeah.
get away. But man, it's just you just can't miss those opportunities.
Well, I really loved and was influenced by the Talking Heads. So I went to see, in the 80s, I went to see Tom Waits, and the theater had 2 staircases. I'm coming down here, and David Byrne's coming down here. He sees me looking at him and goes, slide in. Then I go to see Beck, and David Byrne's like in the sound booth, a couple of chairs in there. And I talked to him, and then I was at some other I don't know where it was, but I see David Byrne like walking through people. Never met him, and then we went to see some like third world music in Lincoln Center. We're up in and I'd get these tickets for like $5. So we're up in this, and the seats, once you're in the seats, you have to walk to the very end of the row to get out when it's over.
Yes.
So Susquehanna's there with me, and we're like making our way through the row. Nobody else is there, and I see this like gray-haired man had stopped to wait for us to come out. As I get close, I see it's David Byrne. I'm like, hello, sir. Like, hello. And we're walking like in the hall together. I didn't want to go, David Byrne, I love you. Because he's on the spectrum too.
Yeah, right.
And I said, I didn't even turn to him. We were like, I'm like, you've been a big influence. Like, well, thank you. And that's it. But that like meant the world to me.
Yeah.
But my favorite, I was really into Genesis when Peter Gabriel was in and his early solo stuff. So we're in this breakfast restaurant in downtown business district, or Wall Street stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're interviewing somebody to be a board member on Arete Living Arts.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I look at this guy, I can see this guy over there that looks like Peter Gabriel. And I say to Heather, looks like Peter Gabriel. She says, looks like an old English Peter Gabriel. I'm like, so the time the meeting was done, whoever he was sitting with had left, and he's just sitting over there. So I'm going to him, sorry to bother you, but I don't know. And he was like the sweetest guy, like really asked about, because I said, you've been a huge influence in me. So he started asking me what I do, and while he was there was he did like an orchestral thing, like we did his songs with orchestra.
Yeah.
And he was doing that in Letterman that night.
Wow.
But I just left that like, wow. But then I'll tell you one that didn't go so well. This is when I got to New York. I couldn't find a job. I was walking in the rain all day, depressed.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I go into the Brill building, go someplace upstairs to try to get a job.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling real bad. I'm in the elevator, like leaning, like wet, depressed. Goes down a couple floors, opens up, and there's Paul Simon. And he looks at me and goes, I'll take the next one.
Wow. you were sending off some signals, I think.
I guess so.
Are you familiar with the State Theater in State College?
Yeah.
Well, they have a little show upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about that?
I haven't seen that part, but Jeff Gaines plays there.
Yeah. And it's like, it packed, I think it's 30 people packed. I mean, you're right up against the stage. Literally, here's the stage and here's my seat, right? And I went there last year to see somebody who I'd never heard of, but my friend was opening up for her. And her name was Leslie Mendelson. She won a Grammy for co-writing a song with Jackson Browne.
Oh.
And she's probably, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s. I don't know. I knew nothing about her. But Hannah Bingman was opening up for her. And Hannah is a local artist that just blows me away. And she's, so I wanted to go and see her. And it was like $25 to go in, and they put me right up front, and Leslie Mendelsohn comes out on stage by herself with an acoustic guitar and talks to the crowd and sings her latest album, and I guess she's been around for like 10 years or more. And she fucking blew me away. I mean, her playing, her songwriting, her voice was like, how in the shit do I not know of this person, right? And then she, went downstairs and you could kind of meet and greet, and I bought her CD and was standing there talking to her for about 10, 15 minutes. And, she just like, I don't know, like her dad went to high school with Waddy Wachtel.
I don't know who that is.
Waddy Wachtel was a guitar player on all the James Taylor albums. That real long curly hair, gray curly hair, and she got him to play on her album, and and she was saying all these people on stage. She was saying, I just recently got Waddy Wachtel, and I went, oh, and she went, yeah, this guy knows, right? And she was like, yeah, I mean, she just like, how can you? And she wrote a song with Jackson Browne that won her Grammy.
Wow.
And I've seen her since on videos of like being on stage with Jackson Browne. He'd call her up and they'd do their song. And
I've seen him twice before in the last year, and it was these things where like last minute $8 ticket.
Yeah.
And they would be like charity things or something. But I never followed them. But it's like, seeing them live. But it wasn't like a Jackson Browne concert. It'd be
right.
like Jackson Browne, and then people kind of at that level. What's that guy? I don't know. Anyways.
Well, anyhow.
Yeah. What are we looking?
Leslie Mendelsohn. To anybody who out there, just check her out. It's amazing.
Okay. This is. Wait. Let me.
So I just tried to make it look exactly like John, I'm Only Dancing. Stole the Dancer.
Here she comes, here she comes, yeah, here she comes again.
And as you can see, Bowie's face was just so white and unwrinkled, so that was the hardest part about it.
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, well, when I went back to the video to edit, it wasn't nearly as graphic, so I had to like throw in a bunch of LUTs and really mess with it more and more. But you see, there's a shot coming up where you can see that I took a black magic marker and tried to put the anchor on my face. And I took the band, I stole the band.
What's interesting, the song kind of reminds me of music from like really late Bowie, like 2000. But before he died, he did the last album, but he did one before that.
Yeah.
And I really like that album, and kind of the guitar kind of reminds me of that style on that album.
I was going for a 70s kind of a Lou Reed kind of a thing, but his influence is very strong on me. I cannot deny it. And as my voice gets older and older, I'm losing all my high ends, so I have no choice but to sing down here like that.
The thing about being influenced by Bowie, it's like, that's 100 different influences, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a whole...
Yeah, I could like literally rip him off like I'm doing here, and it's still kind of original, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a song about, Here She Comes is a song about, I suffer from depression and I've been medicated for 20 years, but somewhere between January and March, she comes back, and I was sitting at home thinking, well, it's getting about that time, yeah. And as I was thinking it, I got a glimpse of her. You know what I mean? What it felt like.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, here it comes. And then whenever I first wrote the song, I wrote it as Here It Comes, but then I thought it's better to make her Lady Blue.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I just went full on with the embracing the wrinkles and, and just highlighting it with shadow, and because, you are who you are and talk it.
So how did you get that guitar tone for the lead lines?
Yeah, I was really trying for a Mick Ronson tone, and I record all of my music on GarageBand. So it's just a very simplistic. It's free in every Mac.
Yeah.
And
were you using delay or?
They have amp simulators.
Oh yeah.
And they have like a big pedal board that you can just swap out pedals and stuff. And I was just playing around, just I'd listen to Ronson, and then I'd go back and I would choose, you can choose like a Fender head, you can choose a Marshall head, you can choose different cabinets, and even the mics that you put on the cabinet, and
so you just experimented
until I got it to sound like I wanted it. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's a very powerful toy. If you want to talk about recording equipment, I mean it's an amazing machine.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And
who played the drums there?
That was GarageBand. They have their own. See, I had to give Mick his visually inspired by Mick Ruff. They have like it's a weird little drum machine, but it's not a drum machine. It's actual samples. It's actual people playing, and there's a weird, really intricate matrix of styles. Drummers, drum kits, and you can just like pull it in, and if you need a drum fill here, it usually will come in on the 8-bar, but if you want it to come in earlier or something, you just put a splice there, and it'll just automatic. And then if you move that slice just a little bit off of the marker, it'll change the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you sit down and really take your time. That's what I do. I take a lot of time on the drums because I want it to sound not just real, because they are real, but I want it to sound like, you always put the roll on the end, and I want it to come in before that, and so I'll just fucking splice and move and then it's a
They
joy.
did sound very real.
Yeah.
And then does that you play in the video?
No, that's the Spiders. I ripped it off. I ripped it off the original video. Yeah, I stole the dancers, the drummer, and I think there was a couple of shots of the bass player and the guitar player way in the background.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean it's a total ripoff, but I'm happy with it nonetheless.
It is so amazing what you can do with sound and video now. I mean,
Yeah, it is, and that brings us into the whole argument of AI.
yeah.
Which people are embracing now. I was thinking that everybody would be like me, that artists would go, no, AI bad,
Some certainly are. I mean, I think it could put us all out of business, but it's also an interesting. I use it for, when I'm planning a film thing, you have the little pictures to tell everybody what's going on.
The storyboard.
Storyboards, yeah. And, I can't afford to pay somebody to do that, so I just get on the AI, and it's interesting. It's also a little annoying. Like, it's not the easiest thing to get what you want.
Yeah, I know. My newest video is called, what's it called? Give me a second.
Okay. I can edit out the space. So
Good. It's called, fuck, I'm not going to be able to remember it. Anyhow, the video, I decided to use AI because I wanted a certain look, which was the Beatles stage on whenever they appeared on Ed Sullivan Show back in 64, 65. It was the color version, not the first black and white show, but it must have been the second show or something. So I used AI. I put the picture of the Beatles on there, and I said, take the people out of the video, and they did. And I said, make it widescreen, and they made it widescreen. And then take the name off the kick drum, right? And then I put the Eds on it or something like that. So I used the stage from two different angles, and then I used AI to generate like the crowd, like show me teenage girls in the audience.
Did you release this already?
Yes.
Yeah,
I just released it.
I think I did see it. I mean, I was like wondering what exactly is going on here. I wasn't sure.
Completely AI generated, and let me tell you, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
The AI brand that I used, I can't remember. I think it might have been Google-based. But it was $29 a month. They gave you a free month trial, and you only had 3 videos a day, 3 8-second videos per day.
Yeah.
And it would take me 3 prompts, 3 videos, just to get 1 8-second video, because I guess I don't know how to prompt correctly.
Yeah, that's like a skill in itself, talking to it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I would get things like, this element would be right, and I'd say, just make one change, but it wouldn't. It would like change the basics.
Yes, yeah, and it was like that. It was like pulling teeth every day, because I'd get to the end and I'd go, okay, now I got to wait until tomorrow, until after 4 o'clock in the afternoon to do 3 more.
Yeah.
But it took me like all month just to generate those.
Wow. Well, let's sign off the video.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And that was David Bowie and Ed's song, Here She Comes. And if you have any comments you'd like to make or request, put them in the comments, and hope to see you again soon.